boys and girls. Welcome back to our read aloud of our story, Sideways Stories from Wayside School. So we have been introduced to Wayside School knowing that it's 30 stories high with one classroom on each floor instead of being a long horizontal building, which is one story high and 30 classrooms. And remember, all the stories that we're getting are from the 30th story, which is the highest story that there is. So yesterday we read about Mrs. Gore. Remember, that was the kid's teacher who turned them all into apples when she wiggled her ears and her nose, and then they all were apples. And then they turned Mrs. Gore into an apple at the end, and Mr. Lewis ate her. So today we're going to read chapter 2, which is Mrs. Jules. There she is. I have a feeling she's the teacher to replace Mrs. Gore. Let's see what happens today. Mrs. Jules had a terribly nice face. She stood at the bottom of Wayside School and looked up. She was supposed to teach the class on the 30th story. Can you imagine climbing 30 flights of stairs? The children on the 30th story were scared. They had never told anybody what happened to Mrs. Gore. They hadn't had a teacher for 3 days. They were afraid of what their new teacher would be like. They had heard she'd be a terribly nice teacher. They had never had a nice teacher. They were terribly afraid of nice teachers. Mrs. Jules walked up the winding, creaking staircase to the 30th story. She was also afraid of the children. She was also afraid. She was afraid of the children. She had heard that they would be horribly cute children, and she had never taught cute children. She was horribly afraid of cute children. She opened the door to the classroom. She was terribly nice. The children could tell just by looking at her. Mrs. Jules looked at the children. They were horribly cute. In fact, they were too cute to be children. I don't believe it, said Mrs. Jules. It's a room full of monkeys. The children looked at each other. They didn't see any monkeys. This is ridiculous, said Mrs. Jules. Just ridiculous. I walked all the way up 30 flights of stairs for nothing but a class of monkeys? What do they think I am? I'm a teacher, not a zookeeper. The children looked at her. They didn't know what to say. Todd scratched his head. I'm sorry, said Mrs. Jules. Please don't get me wrong. I have nothing against monkeys. It is just that I was expecting children. I like monkeys. I really do. Why, I'm sure we can play all kinds of monkey games. What are you talking about? Asked Todd. Mrs. Jules nearly fell off her chair. Well, what do you know? A talking monkey. Tomorrow I'll bring you a banana. My name is Todd, said Todd. The children were flabbergasted. They all raised their hands. I'm sorry, said Mrs. Jules, but I don't have enough bananas for all of you. I didn't expect this. Next week, I'll bring in a whole bushel. That's what you call a gourd of bananas. I don't want a banana, said Calvin. I'm not a monkey. Would you like a peanut? Asked Mrs. Jules. I think I might have a bag of peanuts in my purse. Wait a second. Here it is. Thanks, said Calvin. I like peanuts. Allison stood up. I'm not a monkey, she said. I'm a girl, and my name is Allison, and so is everybody else. Mrs. Jules was shocked. Do you mean to tell me that every monkey in here is named Allison? No, said Jenny. She means we're all children. My name is Jenny. No, said Mrs. Jules. You're much too cute to be children. Jason raised his hand. Yes, said Mrs. Jules. The chimpanzee over there in the red shirt. My name is Jason, said Jason, and I'm not a chimpanzee. Well, you're too small to be a gorilla, said Mrs. Jules. I'm a boy, said Jason. You're not a monkey? Asked Mrs. Jules. No, said Jason. And the rest of the class, they're not monkeys either? Asked Mrs. Jules. No, said Allison. This is what we've been trying to tell you. Are you sure? We would know if we were monkeys, wouldn't we? Asked Calvin. I don't know, said Mrs. Jules. Do monkeys know that they are monkeys? I don't know, said Allison, but I'm not a monkey. No, I suppose you're not, said Mrs. Jules. Okay, in that case, we have a lot of work to do. Reading, writing, subtraction, addition, spelling. Everybody take out a piece of paper. We'll have a test now. Jason tapped Todd on the shoulder. He said, do you want to know something? I liked it better when she thought we were monkeys. I know, said Todd. I guess now it means that she's not going to bring me a banana. There will be no talking in this class, said Mrs. Jules, and she wrote Todd's name on the blackboard under the word discipline. So that was Mrs. Jules. Tomorrow we're going to read our first chapter about a student named Joe. All right, I'll see you tomorrow for Joe.